All right, so there's all sorts of rumors today. In fact, one NFL team already tweeted something this morning about a trade and within seconds deleted it. So everybody's on pins and needles. Everybody's on the edge of their seats. Here's an interesting one. I'm going to give you about three. The Patriots are looking to move into the top 10. Now, this is the one that I've been predicting. I don't think Denver's going to move up to get a quarterback, although I think they'll draft one. There'll be one available. But New England's too far back. Number 15, they have to move up. And this is, reportedly this morning, they want Justin Fields, which may be a decoy. I think you can make an argument for Trey Lance or Justin. They're both dynamic players. But if New England gets one of these top 4 or 5 quarterbacks, it does feel like, okay, they're back on track. Last year, New England felt like a train that got derailed a little bit. Like none of it made sense. The most prepared, smartest, most efficient NFL team had no real plan once Tom Brady left. They signed Cam late. It was an odd fit. He got COVID. They had 8 players opt out. They lacked any substance offensively. It just was, it's one thing that Brady leaves and you're not very good, but it was like they not only failed the midterm, it appeared they didn't study for it. They weren't prepared for Brady leaving. And this is the one team I think really you look at after the draft and you'll go, okay. The smartest guys in the room are back on track. Like if the Jets get Zach Wilson, all right, it seems like they're drafting quarterbacks every 4 years. None of them work. The Bengals get Penei Sewell or Jamar Chase. All right, they're still not as good as the Ravens or the Browns or the Steelers. Jags get Trevor Lawrence. All right, well, they got to get somebody. Not going to. Gardner Minshew's not taking you anywhere. But this is the one that feels like, okay. Because when we think of New England, we think of them going up in big games. You cannot go into these big games against Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, and you don't have a young stallion, a young star. And Trey Lance and Justin Fields, to me, feel like you could go into a game. Now, it may take a year behind Cam, but you could go into one of these big games and you got a weapon. You got a guy that can run, guy that can throw, guy with a big arm. Unlike Cam, you don't have an injury history. You haven't hit your prime yet. So I don't think, listen, a lot of this draft is San Francisco's got a great coach and a great roster, regardless of what quarterback they take, with or without Mac Jones. The Jets and the Jags have been drafting quarterbacks forever. Atlanta takes Kyle Pitts. They still can't stop anybody. This draft is mostly about tweaking, filling holes, but how many moves in this draft really feel like they change the franchise? Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence has a chance to, but we don't know if Urban's going to work in the NFL. We just don't know that. And we don't know from an ownership situation if players are going to want to play in Jacksonville. They're going to build the facilities. Are they going to commit long term? No history of it. But New England takes one of these guys, moves up to number 6 or 7. You feel like, boy, they've never done that before. Belichick's never moved up into the top 10. This would be it. And I think both the quarterbacks would succeed in New England. I think Trey Lance would. I think Justin Fields would. And this morning it looks like they're interested at least in one. Story today, San Francisco is down to Mac Jones or Trey Lance. Oh, excuse me? I beg your pardon? What was that? Oh, they like Trey Lance now too. Oh, that name just popped up. Color me cynical, but it's actually smart. It's really smart by San Francisco. Listen, there's 5 quarterbacks going to be taken. 2 are a bust. That's the history. What if Mac Jones doesn't work and Trey Lance flourishes? Kyle Shanahan, if he got fired, will still get a job. He's too smart, the Shanahan name. John Lynch is a first-time GM. Mac Jones gets picked, stinks, and Trey Lance and Justin Fields chop it up somewhere else. John Lynch isn't getting another GM job, and he loves being a GM. And he's good at it so far. Think about the Chicago Bears. It's not that they took Mitch Trubisky, who I didn't like, and I said it the day he got drafted. It's that it looks like they weren't even interested in Deshaun Watson. They played in the same conference. Deshaun was much better than Trubisky. What if Ryan Pace, the GM, who if he gets fired will never get another GM job? He'll work in the NFL, but this is it. But what if they had smartly leaked career insurance, we love both. We love both. We were just, I love Deshaun, but the ACL tear scared me. We were just petrified that we'd get this great player, and we knew he'd be good, but the ACL, and Trubisky had never been hurt and had some of his qualities, and neither one of them were world-class 5-star throwers. They were both super athletic. We were just petrified with Deshaun Watson's ACL, which, by the way, tore again. You could make that argument to the fans. But instead it was like, we're moving up to get Trubisky. Well, what about Deshaun was better than him when they, in the same conference, in career insurance. 2 or 3 of these kids are going to bust. A lot of it won't be their own fault. You want to have an out as a money manager. Buy a little Bitcoin. You want to have a little out. The idea that San Francisco, Mac Jones and nobody else. Do you know how many picks you gave up to get to 3? You gave up like multiple first-round picks. So if he doesn't work, if it bombs, you're kind of marginalizing yourself. You're kind of put yourself in a corner because guess what? Not only is 1 or 2 of these guys going to bust, 1 or 2 of them are going to hit. I got news for you. If Belichick gets his hands on Trey Lance, it's going to be a lot of W's with Trey Lance. And if Brian Flores rolled the dice and went and got Justin Fields, he's going to look a lot more dynamic in a couple of years than Tua. So I don't know. My guess is San Francisco knows what they're drafting. I think they know what they're drafting. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to leak that you like a couple of these guys. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.